Welcome back everyone to our gameplay series of X4 Foundations. And now we're going to pick up right where we left off in the last video. A little bit of time has passed and it's time to apply a manager for our particular station. You can see we're sitting here on at the docking pad on the station. It has been completed, as well as the connecting structures, and here in the distance you can see that we are nearing completion of our solar panels. So if we pull up the map screen and then we go to Mission Manager, you can see under Upkeep Missions, we have a mission to acquire a manager. So just keep an eye on this, and that will generally help you out with what you might need in order to get your station up and running. So we got some options on how we go about acquiring a manager and what type of manager, or at least what type of skills they might have. And the option that I'm going to use, since we can no longer get these guys from other capital ships, which was a very nice way of doing it. But since, for now at least, they've patched that out of the game, we really don't have a great way of finding really capable managers. And I'm talking about 3 stars or more. So what I think is the best option for right now is to actually transfer one of your existing employees onto the manager position. So what you can do is actually go into some of your miners and or traders and just see what kind of pilots you have currently. And what I've done is I've actually gone in and decided on Silicon Miner number 1. If we go in and take a look at his information, you notice that over time, this guy has gotten a management skill of 1 star. Now that's the highest I found out of my fleet so far, or at least among pilots that I would consider moving. So we have a management of 1 star, and that is actually the ship you see behind us. So I had this guy come and dock and basically just wait here for me. Okay, so he's currently docked. In fact, if we bring him up once again, let's see, Silicon Miner 1, if we go to information, and under his ship, you can see dock and wait. He's going to get back to auto mining, but right now he's waiting for me to tell him before he can continue. So let's go ahead and start communications with him. And to do that, we're going to need to find him in the crew list. So let's click on Coraline, right click, and then com. And we're going to tell her to work somewhere else for me. And the somewhere else is going to be our solar power plant. Okay, and selected role will be manager.
Confirmed.
Confirmed. Now she's been assigned to that, and you can see that currently on the Silicon Miner, we have no captain. So I've got a couple of choices on how to get a new captain for the ship if I decide that I'm not going to man it myself and fly it around. And what I've decided to do for our purposes here is I'm going to use one of the pilots that I don't use a whole lot, and that is for my primary vessel right now, which is the Nova Vanguard, which is parked right over there. That's what I've been using for transportation, mining asteroids, and various trading and that kind of stuff, just to get me from point A to point B. But the good news is we actually have a pretty good pilot on deck. Okay, let's go under the pilot, and you can see he's a 3-star pilot, so not bad at all. So what I'm actually going to do on him is right click on him.
Can I help?
We'll start communications with him and tell him work somewhere else. And now I am going to tell him work on the Silicon Miner, and we'll select the role, which is the captain.
Affirmative.
All right, so now we've assigned him there, and now we have no more crew members available right now as far as pilots. Now we could always promote someone new to be a pilot, but for right now I'm not terribly worried about that, since this is just my personal ship for the time being. But we could decide to promote another crew member up to that position. All right, so now we've got that taken care of. Our station now has a manager. If we come in under information, and you can see that we got player employees on board. We have actually 1 employee, and she is the manager. So right now, you can see she has very little as far as skill, but that's okay. She'll build that over time. So I'm not going to worry a whole lot about that. Also notice that now we have some functions. Since we have a manager, we can come in here and take a look at our funds for station construction. And we still have 629,000 left in there. I'm actually going to add a little bit more to that and just keep it around that million or so mark. And then we're going to need funds for the station account. This is for them to buy resources that they're going to need for production. We're not going to need a whole lot of that right now, but just to get started, I'm going to put around 500,000 in there just so I don't forget about it later on. So we have the basics in place. Now let's take a look at the power plant itself and see where things are. So it looks like we've got a small holdup in materials, about 3 minutes left in construction, and we're at 84% on our solar panels over here. So we're in good shape. Let's actually come back out. Let's look at plan build, and let's see exactly what it is that we're missing. So we're done with the luxury dock area and a couple of the connecting structures on here. So all of that is set and ready to go. The energy cells, we need, let's see, 52 Claytronics, and right now we have only 4 available in storage. Let's see if we have any that is going to be in pending trades. Looks like we do have some. 125 are on their way from a trader, and then some hull parts. We have a couple on their way, but we have plenty of hull parts based on what we need so far. So if we sort of take a look into the future and get an idea of how much we're going to need, we're going to be in pretty good shape once this trade comes in. Actually, now we've got some more trades, so we're going to be in really good shape with Claytronics. And then let's see, energy cells. Looks like we're going to be fine for the foreseeable future there with what we already have in storage. And then hull parts. Looks like we're going to be fine again for the near future. And then our builder is going to continue to put out those buy orders for the resources we need. And things are progressing quite nicely. If we take another quick look at our design, you can see that instead of looking at these shadows that we started off with when we were actually planning our design, now we have some solid models to look at. There's our docking station, a couple of the connection structures that are here in behind, and pretty soon we'll have the energy cell production. So things are progressing right along. It didn't take long at all for our builder to get over to the site, maybe a couple of minutes at the most, and he got right to work. So now we have the basics for our particular station. Let's move on. The next thing we need to do is start assigning some subordinates. So I've let a little bit of time pass so that the construction could get completed. And I've also actually gone ahead and expanded just a little bit on our station just so that we can see some of the beginnings of how the trading and all that will work. So if we come back in, what I've done is I've actually added some solid storage and then another of these cross sections. And then on top of that, refined metal production. I went ahead and picked up the blueprint for that, and it was a couple of 100,000 credits, so it wasn't very bad at all. So I went ahead and picked that up because this should be baseline production for several modules in the future, but we'll just have to wait and see. For right now, we're going to hope that we can make some money using this particular module. So for right now, you can see we have no builder assigned, and that's because every module that we had slated for completion is now complete. And so with that, we'll come back out and let's take a look at our mission manager. And once again, we're under upkeep missions, and it's got 3 missions for us. Transfer credits to our station manager, which we've already done. We were a little bit ahead of the game, but it wants us to transfer a little bit extra, and we'll take a look in just a moment as to why it wants us to transfer a little bit extra. And then assign a subordinate. It wants us to assign a trade ship. And then also a mining ship. And the reason for that is the mining ship will be for the refined metals. It requires ore, so that shouldn't be a big issue. Let's come out to our property that is owned. Let's take a look at this drill Vanguard. This is something that actually just happened a few moments ago. It was actually claimed by one of our other miners, and I didn't even realize we had it for a little while. I missed the message where they let me know that they had gotten it, but they went ahead and claimed it because that is their default behavior, and I have some employees on board, some Marines, that will take care of that. So if we look under them, let's see. I have not renamed it yet. Okay, looks like they are done with everything because I actually had them go over to, yes, they've already undocked and they're all set. So let's take a quick look at their information because they were in pretty bad shape. So I had to send them over here to the wharf to be repaired and then also to add some weapons and turrets for the mining operation that we're going to be doing. Okay, so it looks like everything was done. The hull is now completely repaired, and it had no shield whatsoever, so we had to add a shield. So we spent a little bit of money on it, a little over 100,000 credits, I believe, all total, but not bad at all. So now I plan on taking this drill vanguard and making it the station miner for our new refined goods complex. So let's go ahead and make sure we have our drill vanguard highlighted. And then we're going to assign a role, which is mining. And you might have heard it on the side there. One of our assigned subordinate mission is now complete. Okay, the next thing we need to do is assign a trader. So, okay, we'll come in and let's see. Trader number 1 doesn't appear to be doing anything right now. Let's see. He's got some storage. Okay, he's got some hull parts that we need to figure out a way to get rid of. Okay, and we're actually going to, let's get rid of his auto trade. Okay, we're going to get rid of that on him. You notice it was not under his default behavior because whenever he started with this, he didn't have the high enough skill to do it, and he hasn't quite gained enough skill to do it at this point either. So, okay, we're going to, actually, I think we can probably use those. But we'll come back to him in just a minute because first we need to find somewhere for him to sell these. All right, so bought, I believe we're going to get by with right over here. Yes, we are in great shape. So we're going to have this guy come over and trade with. And at this point, we don't care about profit or loss for this guy. We just want him to get rid of these so that we can actually use him in the future. All right, so let's come back out. Make sure we've got our trader highlighted. We're going to come in and actually put him on trading for. So what he'll do is he'll take care of the orders we just gave him. Then he'll head over and become the trade ship, or at least one of the trade ships for this particular station. So as we have opened up the station, you can see we now have 2 subordinates, and now we have no more missions as far as assigning subordinates. All right, so 2 jobs taken care of and out of the way. Now we need to take a look at this transfer credits. And in order to do that, there's actually several ways you can get there. First of all, let's unselect some things and get some of this off of our screen. And we're going to come in under logical overview. This is basically the lifeblood of your station. This is where you can get all sorts of information that is pertinent to what is going on at your station. What are you selling? What are you buying? How much are you paying for it? And so on. So we start off energy sales. We're making energy sales, and you can see the current production status, how many we're making per hour, and so on. If we move over to the next column, you can see that currently we have 6,800 of these in storage, and then we have buy and sell offers. Well, we're not really looking to buy a whole lot, so what I did is I took off automatic pricing and ran the price all the way down to the bottom. So if we're going to buy any, it's going to be dirt cheap. And we shouldn't need any at all. But then the most important thing is the sell offer. Now, long term, these energy cells are going to be used for other things, such as the refined metals. But for right now, we're going to have an excess of those because we're not going to need everything that we're making. So what I've done on the sell offer is I've actually run it way down as well. And you can see I can play around with this. If I leave it on automatic pricing, which is certainly an option, then it started off at 20, just to give you an idea of where our manager was. And again, our manager is very low level right now. He only has 1 star. So what I've done is taken off the automatic pricing, and we'll see how things go over time and how the leveling up procedure works. But for right now, I'm just interested in getting rid of some. And in fact, she has already sold some at that price. So we're getting a little bit of money coming in just to keep the station account up and flowing. All right, so now let's go to the station account. And here is where that additional money that they wanted us to transfer comes into play. So the minimum recommended budget right now is $550,000. Currently, she has $455,000. So just to complete this mission, I'm going to go ahead and give her just a little over $700,000, and we'll confirm that. So that should take care of our mission. In fact, I just could barely hear the sound in the background. So that mission is now complete. If we look under drones, I have some options in here. The target amount, I have chosen to go with a lot of cargo drones for trading purposes. But then I've thrown in a few defense drones and repair drones as well. And that should take place over the next little while. Then finally, we move over to our newest modules, which are the refined metals. And once again, you can see our current production status, which is at nothing right now because we're waiting on ore. Since we just established a subordinate for the mining operation, it's going to take a little while for that to catch up, but it should be well into the process of taking care of that. So we're going to make 2,400 with this 1 module per hour, and here is the resources that we require. And then finally, we get to where we can set up our sell offer. And as always, you can choose to make this automatic pricing. For right now, what I've done is put it at 150 credits, simply because that's on the low end, and that should guarantee that we get a lot of sales for our buy offers. So with that in mind, that's the basics of how you run the station, sort of a day-to-day. Down here, you've got various graphs. And oh, one more thing that you'll see on a few of these different things is restrict trade with other factions. Now, long term, we'll be doing this with our energy sales simply because we're going to be using them internally. However, and in fact, it looks like we've got a sale for 840 of these that is coming up very soon. So excellent. That'll be a little bit more income. But for right now, we're continuing to sell these. So if you want to restrict trade with other factions, that would mostly be if you plan on using these internally at this station or another one of your stations. So that's generally what you would use that for. Now, coming back down to our statistics, if we come under trade offer pricing, and we've got several options here, let's go with energy sales. So we've got buy and sell offers with the different colors, with the buy offer being in the reddish color and then the yellow color being the sell offers. So here at the beginning, you can see that the sell offer, was on automatic pricing. Actually, when we had just started production, and then I took it off of automatic pricing and drastically lowered the price just so we could try to get some sales in here at the beginning. And then the buy offer, you can see we had initially a buy offer up around, what is that, about 18, a little over 18. But then I have taken care of that. And then refined metals, we will have a similar situation going forward. You can see where there was no price until the module got completed. Then I come in and set a price of 150 for now. Then trade offer amounts. Once again, right now we don't have any refined metal trade offers because we haven't made any yet. But if we look at energy sales, once again, you can see as the graph goes over time. And of course, right now it's just on last hour because this is a very new station. But then you can always expand out to day or week as time progresses. Next up, we have the storage levels, which right now the only thing we have in storage are energy sales. And you can see how this is climbing as time passes and we continue to make more of them. And then finally, our management accounts. For our manager, you can see I started her out with about 500,000. She spent a little bit of money to acquire some goods, and now she is floating right at $455,000 right now for her amount. So not too bad. Is a lot of information here a lot of very useful information, which will continue to give us feedback over time so that we can adjust our selling prices. You know, eventually I'd like to put this on automatic pricing, but who knows? It's not that big a deal to check up on the prices from time to time just to see where we are and what kind of money we've got flowing in. Now let's actually come in real quick and let's see if I can find in the logbook. Let's see if I can find, yeah, here we go. Here's a nice trade. So Argon Prime Refined Goods Complex, that's a mouthful. That's our station, made 9,200 credits, selling some energy cells. And then as we move down through here, you'll start to see more and more of those as time passes. So there you have it. We have completed sort of the basics of setting up a station, some basic production elements, setting pricing, assigning managers, all of that sort of thing, as well as assigning subordinates. So we've got a lot that is currently going on, and we'll check back later to see how things are going. But that's going to do it for now. Thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned as we will continue our gameplay of X4 Foundations.